I've been making an effort for some years now to convince tripping canoeists to learn to navigate their boats with a long pole as well as with a paddle. A canoe pole provides a solution to many of the challenges that are faced by those who travel wilderness waterways. This has always been true for thousands of years. The fact that it is so rarely taught or even seen today doesn't change that truth. In fact, acquiring the skills to pole a canoe will present opportunities that are rarely considered by most paddlers. In this video, those would be upstream travel and shallow water. At the end of September 2020, I headed out on the Big East River near Huntsville, Ontario. I decided to do this project initially because this river is part of that most brutal canoe route around Algonquin Park, known as the Meanest Link. Folks that shoulder this challenge will wade up this river for hours over a couple of days. I wanted to present them with an option. I was going to travel upstream from Williamsport Road Bridge to at least as far as Distress Dam. That may be 12 to 15 kilometers. I really don't know. What happened was, I packed it in after less than an hour and a half. When my GoPro camera got caught up on a branch of a fallen tree across my line, I backed up, stepped out, and waded about 60 feet. The rocks were really slippery. I continued for a short distance after that, but then decided it was too risky an undertaking for a senior fella on a solo excursion. So I put this video idea on hold. I figured I'll come back next year with some company, for the sake of safety. I hadn't captured much upstream footage yet, and it appeared that I'd lost most of that to some technical glitch. How could I convince canoeists to start a bit of poling practice to go upstream and through shallows, with predominantly downstream footage? But then I saw a video preview posted by a linker a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, I better make this video anyway for the coming season of, dare I say, madness. So here's the case I'm making. I traveled maybe 5 kilometers upstream in, at most, an hour and a half. Except for 60 feet, I didn't walk at all. I paddled or I pulled. So, Everything that you see me going down here, I pulled up an hour or so ago. Now look at the water critically. It is moving and it is shallow. Some of it's less than 6 inches deep. Imagine any of that with a paddle. Now, to be fair, a lot of this is not entry-level poling. But a lot of what I traveled was. Especially sandy and gravel shallows. Wading is hard work, exhausting, and time-consuming. Tracking isn't much better. From the look of the river, there must have been some carries. Now watch this stretch here. It doesn't look like much on the return, but this is the first feature that you come upon around a couple of bends from Williamsport Road. Now how would you choose to do it? Or if you've done it, how did you have to? It took me less than 2 minutes. I know that most people have never tried this other than pushing with a paddle, but it's very intuitive. You can find an old canoeing manual. Virtually every how to canoe book, and there were a lot of them, had poling in it if you go back before the mid-1970s. There's training to be had through Paddle Canada, the ACA, and British Canoeing. And of course, there's always YouTube. Tandem paddlers need not despair. A person can stand with a long pole in the stern, and the bow person can help route find with a short pole or a paddle. Another option is to track with the towing person on shore with a rope and a poler in the boat. This has always been done. And of course, one person can always go ashore with a pack to lighten the load, and the other person can pull the canoe until the trouble section is passed. Anything that cuts down on the wading and carrying is a bonus. So think about it. Seriously.